There's a place tucked into a small desert town in Arizona. It calls itself a public learning space, but the moment I parked my van there, I was told I wasn't welcome. Not because I'd done anything wrong, but because of how I looked, or rather, what I drove. This is the Verde Valley Archaeology Center Native American Pathway, a 501c3 nonprofit educational site open to the public from dawn to dusk, daily. Its whole purpose is to preserve ancient seeds of the Hopi tribe and educate people about them. Yet oddly, a sprinkler runs all day long, wasting precious desert water. The only visible crops were onions. Meanwhile, the traditional Hopi crops, which are corn, beans, and squash, the three sisters, are nowhere to be found. To top it off, the fenced-off garden behind a locked gate makes the whole thing feel exclusive. Honestly, it seems like someone found a way to use public resources for a private garden while gatekeeping the very public it's meant to serve. We'd actually been to this spot twice, both times during the day. The first day, we parked there in the morning. It was quiet, peaceful, and had enough cell service for me to get some work done. We used the walking path every few hours to stretch our legs and get my dog some exercise. No one else was around. The lot stayed completely empty the whole time, so we came back the next day, the same routine, a calm spot away from crowds, with a bit of nature and still enough signal for productivity. We didn't stay overnight. No sleeping, no camping, just a safe, calm place to be for a few hours during the day. And that's when the green Jeep pulled in. That's when the vibe changed. So a man in a green Jeep pulled up right next to the van. My door was open. I was inside working. I could hear his engine stop when he pulled up next to the van. Let me go see what's going on. When I stuck my head out the open door, he said, "I can't let you stay here again tonight." I was immediately confused because I hadn't spent the night there. So I told him this. And that's when I knew this wasn't about me. It was about who he thought I was. It was about the unwanted line between visitor and unwanted presence. And that line is being drawn more and more aggressively across the van life world. I've seen this pattern across the Southwest. Places that say they're public, open, or educational, but enforce invisible boundaries for people like me, nomads, full-timers, van lifers, and houseless folks. It's not always the cops. Sometimes it's a guy in a Jeep. It's a guy in a Jeep with a sense of ownership over something that doesn't belong to him. And if you live on the road, you know these encounters stack up. And they send a clear message. This world wasn't built for you in mind. We're told van life is unsustainable, that we're the problem. But here's the irony. A publicly funded garden for the public in the desert, running sprinklers in broad daylight, behind a locked gate. No crops to feed anyone, just optics. Meanwhile, many of us cook with minimal water. We use composting toilets, solar power, and repurpose our gray water just to tread lightly. So who's actually being wasteful here? I never saw the man in the Jeep again. As soon as I told him I hadn't been there, he did drive off and leave. He didn't even say, okay, he just pulled off. But I've met his kind a million times. Guardians of invisible gates, defending something they're supposed to be sharing. And in a time when land access is shrinking and van lifers are scapegoated for everything from litter to crime, these little moments aren't just personal, they're political. If you've ever been asked to leave a public space that felt like home, you're not alone. Check out my recent video on the 10 reasons why I think van life might not survive the next decade, and the threats that are facing van life as we speak. And if you want more of these quiet but true stories of the road, consider subscribing. Right down below, this is my life, and this is real. And you know what? Since someone made me feel like I didn't belong here, that I didn't have the right to enjoy this place, I think that's the exact reason why I should share it with you. And if you're ever in the Verde Valley, it's worth a visit. This pathway winds through a small, peaceful stretch of desert that's surprisingly full of life. On our walks, we saw benches in the shape of a horned lizard sunbathing on the rocks, a javelina meandering through the cacti, and even a desert tortoise providing an interactive place to sit and rest while learning about the native fauna. You'll find small signs along the way with stories and history about the Hopi people, one of the oldest continually inhabited cultures in North America. This trail honors their agricultural legacy, beans and squash, crops that sustained entire civilizations in this dry and challenging climate. We even found rock art tucked into the corners of the path if you slow down and really look. It's not a long walk, maybe 15-20 minutes if you take your time, but it's the kind of place that helps you breathe a little deeper. So instead of being pushed out by that man in the Jeep, I'm choosing to invite you in. Places like this, real, rooted in culture, open to the public, they should stay that way, not just for people passing through like me, but for everyone.
Can't give the whole thing away. I want you guys to experience it for yourselves.
Thanks so much for coming along.